Hope all of you had an amazing Christmas, a happy holidays as we gear up toward the turn of the year for New Year's Eve, then New Year's Day. We got the playoff coming up, New Year's Six Bowls coming up, a ton left ahead of us, but we want to break down the 4 contests that we have today. Obviously, sitting to my left here, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback. My brother sitting to my right, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. What did y'all think, even though it's the weekend between Christmas and New Year's Eve, that we wouldn't be content to drop you content?
Who thought that?
I hope nobody out there. Y'all know we love to grind. We're basically a coffee company over here.
Come over here, let mama brush your hair.
Yeah, get over here. I got to spend all day here by myself with Steve. But anyways, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you haven't seen Lady Ballers yet on Daily Wire Plus, or you haven't signed up for the Daily Wire Plus subscription, come on now, let's get with it. Figure it out. And we appreciate you guys joining us on Rumble as well. Glad to be broadcasting there. But David, I know Blaine is looking at the imaginary chat right now.
He's dialed in. He's dialed in. He's like Keanu in The Matrix.
I love it. He's like a safe code breaker.
A lot of people call me John Wick's cousin.
Really? Don Wick?
Ron Slick.
Ronnie Slick, man.
You would be old Ron Slick.
Yeah.
But anyway, David, what do we got? What do we got on tap
right
today?
Into this night game. We got Arizona and Oklahoma in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Oklahoma, I really enjoyed watching Oklahoma play this year. That exciting finish in the Red River Shootout against Texas. The final edition of Bedlam against Oklahoma State was one of the most anticipated matchups for me leading up to this season. And ironically, that loss is what kept them out of a rematch with Texas. They're going to take on an Arizona team that went 9-3 this year, Jake.
Man, I tell you what, starting and look, we know Oklahoma's a huge brand. I'm a big believer in Brent Venables. I mean, you had a good year this year with a schedule that wasn't the toughest, but you did beat Texas, kind of, lost it against an Oklahoma State team that was upstart that we had kind of left for dead after the first 4 weeks when, they apparently didn't realize how good Ollie Gordon was. But I think the story is about this Arizona team. It's about this 2023 Arizona season led by Jed Fish. Fishing's fun again out in Arizona. I mean, you look at what this team did after an injury to the quarterback as well. I mean, they were sitting in kind of the catbird seat. You had a situation down the stretch where you had 2 legitimate quarterbacks in Noah Fafita and Jaden DeLora. And, you had to pick one of them to play. They were both playing well, and Fafita came in and balled out and then obviously threw for 527 yards in their last game against Arizona State. But as you go into the Big 12, I think Arizona has a lot of momentum. You don't have guys opting out. Then you look at Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel, Gonzo the Clown. He's gone to Oregon.
Yep.
Seems like every offensive lineman that Oklahoma has, including Caden Green, who just committed to Missouri, is gone. I just don't know how much Oklahoma, not that Brent Venables can't get them fired up, but Arizona to be able to put a double-digit win season together, to go 10-3 would be a humongous accomplishment, a humongous story. And I think deep down, David, they just want it more. They got more guys playing.
So you taking Arizona to win the game
I'm taking Arizona outright. I think they're, 3-point favorites?
Yeah, Vegas agrees with you, too. I mean, right now it's Arizona -3, over under 61.5. How you feel about it?
Well, this game opened at -1 Arizona, so the public's leaning on Arizona as well. I think one team's playing for everything to finish to get 10 wins on the season, and one team, even if you won 10 games, kind of feel like the season was a letdown. And that's Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma fans would agree with that. I don't think that their defense would just magically show up and play better. I like Arizona in this game, but I'm really interested to see Jackson Arnold play 4 quarters.
Yeah.
This kid's been hyped up. He's a 5-star coming out, been hyped up as soon as he stepped on campus. So I'm interested to see him playing a full-fledged game at quarterback for Oklahoma. I think it's going to be interesting, but I think Arizona is playing for more in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you, and for that reason, I would take Arizona to win the football game, too. I think the line's about right. I mean, I like it a little bit under a field goal, which is about where it is. But, I wonder if Brent Venables will be able to get this team ready to play just as a springboard leading into next season, especially when, you have a lot of the public counting them out. In a game where they would be a brand favorite for sure.
And even in the losses that they have, one big piece that is coming back, and that's Stutzman on the defensive side.
For sure.
Linebacker, one of their, if not their best player, and their leader on defense. So look to him to get the guys ready as well.
Well, one cool element, too, I want to bring up, Blaine talked about Jackson Arnold, stepping in and taking over for Dylan Gabriel, is you get a whole month, right, basically, of practice as the guy. Yeah, I mean, this, David. It's a lot different when you're not the starter, preparing, as opposed to having a decent amount of time to know, hey, I'm the guy. The other guys know that I'm the guy at quarterback. Can he take that momentum, put a good bowl game together, and jumpstart them and springboard them and maybe turn what looked to be a negative with the transfer portal, losing Dylan Gabriel into a positive, knowing that you're going into next season through a spring, through a summer, and into a
it'd be
fall
interesting
camp.
to see how the offense really rolls after
Jeff Levy.
Jeff Levy's
Yes.
gone too.
Yeah.
So that'll be
Great
interesting
point.
too to see how that offense, chemistry-wise, comes together.
No doubt. All right, let's go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which that has to be my favorite. Where was the Pop-Tarts Bowl growing up?
Well, at least they call it what it is.
What's your
Like,
favorite Pop-Tart? Not to digress too much. Is it
Look, it's strawberry.
the cinnamon or
It's
the
strawberry.
s'more?
Brown sugar cinnamon
Yeah, that's a good
is
one.
the best Pop-Tart.
Gross.
And what you
Gross.
do is you put it in the microwave,
Yes.
Butter.
right? And you put a little bit of butter.
A little butter. Have you ever put butter on a Pop-Tart? Peter Griffin asked this question, the question of our times.
It's so good.
That and what was that Badger humping? But either way, Pop-Tarts Bowl, top 25 matchup, NC State and Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the situation, it's another opt-out bowl, if that's what you're going to call it. Will Howard's obviously gone to USC. There's a couple quarterbacks that have left Kansas State. NC State, we know Brennan Armstrong, which I thought was one of the biggest letdowns personnel-wise in the transfer portal going into this year. I thought he was going to continue to kind of elevate NC State after Devin Leary got hurt last year. We saw what Brennan did at Virginia, just didn't work out. Then MJ Morris takes over. NC State finishes the year good after Steve Smith Sr. said that NC State was a basketball school, and Dave Doran got 13 flavors of pissed about that. But when I look at this game, I just feel like there's going to be a bunch of mistakes. But the type of identity that Kansas State has lends you to believe that they would make less mistakes. I would not be shocked if this is a low-scoring game where each defense scores and somebody blocks a punt or something like that. Because there's one area that we don't talk about a lot with these opt-outs from these teams is special teams, depth-wise. And that doesn't mean you don't have guys you can put out there, but a lot of times you're playing these young guys in the bowl game and it's their first action. Maybe somebody doesn't pick up the right guy on punt. Maybe somebody gets out of their lane on kickoff and somebody's able to spring a return. But I think Kansas State, in a game that's probably not going to be clean, comes out the cleanest. I like the Wildcats.
Yeah, probably a little bit of an ugly game. I'm going to take Kansas State to win as well. The over-under is 47 right now, but this line's also 3. It's -3 Kansas State.
Yeah, I actually like NC State in this football game, to be honest, because NC State, mostly, if you looked at NC State throughout this year, they're really similar to Kansas State.
Yeah.
Not a very explosive team on offense. They're going to nickel and dime you down the field. Don't commit a lot of turnovers, and one of the best teams defensively on third downs, which kind of sounds like what? Sounds like Kansas State. I haven't seen this Avery Johnson kid a lot for Kansas State. If he's still there, they're going to be his guy. He hadn't had a lot of snaps on the football field, but you have seen MJ Morris out there for NC State, and I think that's a staple for them. And
Was he going to play in the game? I thought he was in the transfer portal.
Is he in the transfer portal?
Yeah,
He's in the
that.
transfer portal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But there's some guys that are in the transfer portal that are playing.
Then I don't
guess
know-
it's
then I don't know who's going to play quarterback.
yeah. That's what I'm.
Which is every bowl game problem we're running into these days. But I do think NC State, look, man, you have a chance to win 10 games.
Yeah.
For NC State, the way the year started, I mean, a hell of a turnaround. So I think NC State wins this game.
Well, can I ask you this, David?
Yeah.
Was there, not that I'm ever surprised to see anybody in the transfer portal, but I was just baffled at the decision making, and maybe some Kansas State fans can help out in the chat. But Will Howard leaving Kansas State, I don't understand why he transferred from a place that the system fits him perfectly in what they want to do. He knows all the terminology. He knows the offense. I know Colin Klein is gone to Texas A&M, but they're going to run a similar version of what they just did. He understands the personnel around him, and Texas and Oklahoma are leaving, right, going to the SEC, and there's a vacuum that's going to be created at the top. At Kansas State, they could win the Big 12, not easily next year, but I feel like you got to jump in that spot to occupy that vacuum in the Big 12 conference.
Again, I hate to see so many of these guys leaving the schools that they've put in so much work and so much equity with. But anytime you can get an opportunity to play quarterback for Lincoln Riley, a lot of guys are going to take that. 3 Heisman Trophy winners he's helped produce. So I understand it from that aspect. And he's a really solid quarterback who has a bright future in a year where the draft class is so deep. Right, I understand the appeal to go want to play for USC and get some tutelage under Lincoln Riley.
Well, like the Will Howard and the Dylan Gabriel situation.
Yeah,
leaving
those
Oklahoma.
are two.
But what do those have in common?
The OC.
They're both their offensive coordinators left.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that has to be it. I think Colin Klein's what is it? A&M. A&M's going to be the OC for A&M.
Yeah, for Mike Elko. Yeah.
Over there now. So that's kind of the corresponding thing you have. Because other than that, I don't know why either of these guys would leave.
Speaking of big-time games, if you want to get in on the action, there's only one sports book you need to turn to, and that's DraftKings. Whether it's college basketball, whether it's college football, NBA, NHL, NFL, it does not matter. They have you covered. And If you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now with our code BOOSTER, that's BOOSTER, David, you know what they get?
What do they get?
You can bet $5 on any NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets.
Whew.
That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook with what code, Blaine?
Booster.
BOOSTER. Remember, at DraftKings, the crown is yours, King.
All right, Blaine's got a bowl game named after him, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
You're damn right.
And that's Rutgers and Miami. Rutgers 6-6 this year. But look, I watched them play quite a few football games this season, man. Like, especially on defense. They're physical. A good football team. They're going to take on Miami that's 7-5.
I like Rutgers in this one. I love Rutgers straight up. I mean, it's a pick 'em basically. It's 1 point either way. Tyler Van Dyke goes to Wisconsin. I know Emory Williams, the freshman they have that's gotten some play. I like his future. He does have time to be able to work with that offense, but with what you have around you, I know Miami's young up front and they're talented on the offensive line, but a lot of opt-outs, I believe, on the defensive side in this game. And Rutgers, they're not unbelievably explosive. They're just a bunch of Isaiah Pacheco's running around. That's what they are. That's how Rutgers plays. And guess where Isaiah Pacheco played? He's a running back for the Chiefs. At Rutgers. Yeah. This is the Greg Schiano Rutgers special, but now you have a quarterback that I believe is somewhat of an effective thrower. He throws the ball well enough that his running ability, which I think is the better part of his game, against a Miami defense that has guys opted out, that's going to have some fresh faces and fresh places, and with that eye manipulation, that RPO game, man, I think this matters to Rutgers more. And when it matters to you more, especially in the game of football, good things tend to happen.
Yeah, -1 right now on the line, Miami.
God, it's just such a tough game. But who's playing quarterback for Miami?
It's probably the
Emory,
freshman.
yeah,
No, I think
Williams.
I thought it was the Ja'Carri Brown kid. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Ja'Carri Brown with his first start.
He's going to start in this one.
In Rutgers. For Miami against Rutgers. Yeah.
Not the kid who went and played against Florida State?
No, I believe so. It's Ja'Carri Brown. Not only did you lose that, both these teams have a lot of missing pieces.
He's a lefty, I believe.
A lot of these teams have missing pieces, but I think Miami's missing pieces do a lot more damage to Miami than what Rutgers is missing. I mean, you're not only missing both your quarterbacks, you're starting a third string, you're missing 3 NFL guys on defense.
Yeah.
And you'll see that take a toll in this game because the Rutgers is we're going to pound the football against you for 4 quarters. But you look at the Rutgers size, how do they move the chains on the offensive side of the ball? But I do like Rutgers in this game. I would take Rutgers, and I'm betting the under no matter what it is.
Yeah, I thought I'd be the only one to take Rutgers in this, but so much of it is, which team is most excited to be there and wanting to springboard into next year. I still think Mario Cristobal is the guy for Miami. They're recruiting well, like we just saw at National Signing Day, but I'm going to take Rutgers.
Another positive for Miami, this game won't be 13 degrees and snowy. All right, it's supposed to be 50 plus. It's supposed to be sunny. It's the type of game where Miami's used to playing.
Is it in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's funny. We always say that, and then Tyler Van Dyke transfers to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always laugh. We're like, because it's true. You want to play in better weather. Like, there's a reason people, when they retire, move down to Florida. They don't move up north. They're not going to Antarctica. Well, at least the sane ones aren't. But it's so crazy going from, it's like USC joining the Big Ten. Good luck taking those guys and going and playing in Iowa in November. Tell me how that goes. It's just funny to see guys go from the opposite, from the great weather to it's frickin' freezing in here.
All right, from Yankee Stadium to Fenway in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. SMU 11-2 this year under our boy Rhett Lashley against Boston College at 6-6.
Yeah, I know Preston Stone got hurt against Navy. I hated to see that, but man, Rhett Lashley, and people are like, why isn't Rhett Lashley's name being mentioned for more jobs? Well, they're going from Group of 5 to Power 5. SMU is going to the ACC. Now, they're not going to make any money off the ACC for a while, and who the hell knows how long the ACC is really going to be around. But what Rhett Lashley did this year after losing Tanner Mordecai to Wisconsin, speak of the devil, which I didn't think they ended up, I know it's Luke Fickell's first year. I expected way more out of Wisconsin in the Big Ten West. But when I look at this SMU club, even starting Kevin Jennings, who started in the conference championship game, who's good enough to be able to get him past, I just wonder, with Castellanos at quarterback for Boston College, right? And Jeff Hafley feels safe now. There are some rumors that he may be let go. You talk about turning it around after the beginning of the year. I mean, they snuck by Holy Cross, and I'm not talking about like a paragraph from the Bible. I'm talking about in 2023 in college football, and got beat by Northern Illinois at home. week one. As somebody that took the win total for the season at over 5.5, best believe I was sweating that one coming down the end. Castellanos, I think, is a great equalizer. He was like that during the season.
Yeah.
But some teams just know how to win. And Castellanos, while SMU's defense isn't great, he does make big mistakes when he gets outside. He's hit or miss, man, like a lot of these guys are. He'll make the wow play and he'll make the play.
I mean, Castellanos almost led them back against Florida State.
Against Florida State, it's exactly right. But he's also the same guy who was awful against Holy Cross, like turning the ball over and stuff like that. So I really, really, really think SMU is going to play well, but I think Boston College shows up. I like SMU in overtime.
Wow, I like that.
Really?
How about you?
Really? What a bet. The thing about when people think about SMU, what do they think about? They think about offense. If you go back and look and kind of go through the games this year, SMU's defense has been really good.
Yeah.
They're second in the nation right now in sacks.
Which is crazy to
Which
think
is
about.
crazy. And I think 8 games they've held teams under 300 yards. And Boston College is one of the worst teams in the nation in getting in the backfield and creating havoc for quarterbacks and getting the quarterback down. Boston College basically walks off the bus with 2 turnovers. In this game, you cannot do that. But I do think what Boston College can do is run the football.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they are 6-0 when they got over 180 yards rushing. I think it kills the clock. I think they covered the spread, but I do think SMU wins this game.
Man, SMU minus 11 right now.
Started out at minus 9.5.
So many points to me, but I do like SMU to win the football game. It should be a good one. Now, we have 4 matchups tomorrow. Now, we're going live tomorrow. So we're going to do the keys to victory for these 4 bowl games tomorrow. But quickly, just give me your thoughts. Clemson and Kentucky in the Gator Bowl.
Interested to see it at Clemson. You're looking to try and garner some momentum coming off a down year with what Clemson's been able to do. I know Bo Collins and some other guys got in the transfer portal, but their ass wasn't making plays anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much. You look at Cade, you look at the progression of this team. Kentucky with Ray Davis going to the NFL, I think giving Mark Stoops the extension was pretty smart. I like the class that Kentucky brought in, including defensively. I thought they picked up some, a couple Georgia guys that are going to help them out. But I like Clemson. I think Cade Klubnik and them find a way as long as they don't get too cute in the red zone.
So we'll make our official picks on these tomorrow, Blaine, but -4 right now, Clemson.
Yeah, I know. This ought to be a hell of a football game. If you go back and watch Clemson this year, one of their strong suits were the D-line. And they kind of fell apart a little bit late in the year. You go back to the last couple of big win against South Carolina, Kentucky, huge win against Louisville. But I do think Cade Klubnik can be the difference in this game. And I think Dabo Swinney needs this one.
Yeah.
I really think Dabo, with the way he's going about recruiting, not really going in the transfer portal, seeing guys go in the portal, Dabo does it a little bit different. But I don't know if Clemson fans are ready for not even having a 9-win season.
Yeah, we hadn't seen that in a while. Oregon State, Notre Dame should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I got to go Notre Dame. Sam Hartman's playing, correct? I got to go Notre Dame here. Oregon State, they got me playing quarterback, so good luck. Aiden Chillis followed Jonathan Smith, their head coach, who left to go to Michigan State, which you understand. I don't blame him for that. DJU hopped in the transfer portal to go somewhere else to overthrow people off play action. And listen, I love Oregon State and what they've done and kind of the physical transformation they made. They were kind of, the ugly kid at the dance. Nobody, Pac-12 teams that were leaving, Big Ten didn't want them. Big 12 didn't want them. Now you got to go hang out with Steven Glansberg in the Mountain West. So give me Notre Dame. Yeah. I just feel like they got too much, and Oregon State's just playing because they got to show up.
Yeah, if you're Oregon State right now, you're just treading water. That's what you do. You're treading water, trying to stay afloat, and you come off your last 2 games were Washington and Oregon, with both the games you lost, and then you lose your head coach, and other pieces go with them. Your quarterback goes in the portal, and then you get a Notre Dame team that their best players are quarterback who is going to play. I think Notre Dame wins this game. I don't think 6.5 is enough.
Liberty Bowl, Memphis 9-3. Seth Hennigan threw for 3,500 yards this year, 28 TDs, 9 interceptions. They're going to take on Iowa State, who went 7-5, and that's in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, I don't understand why the spread is so high.
Yeah, this right now is Iowa State -9.
Do they know something that I believe Memphis is? That their quarterback's playing. I don't think
half, actually. I like Memphis 9.5.
Listen, I love what Iowa State did down the stretch. Matt Campbell, Blaine said it best. It's amazing what happens when a fan yells at you and you get pissed off. It just turned everything around for Iowa State. They figured it out through the air somewhat. I know they weren't brilliant, but after losing your quarterback preseason, running back preseason, key other pieces preseason because of a gambling scandal and the way it started out, you got shoved in a locker by Ohio, right, in a game that was not pretty. That was not, if you're a defensive guy like me, you can watch it all day. But in the most part, it was not pretty. I think Iowa State wins because I don't trust Memphis to be able to stop Iowa State consistently enough. But I mean, this Memphis team can score, man, even against Iowa State.
This is tough. I mean, this is tough for me because to be honest with you, I haven't watched a lot of Memphis football this year. I know they're
Memphis.
Good,
it's what you think. It's what you think.
They always run a good system. But I don't know, man. This Iowa State team's been weird this year. I don't know how many opt-outs they're going to have. I don't think they're a lot. I think they need to win this game, and I think they'll control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Usually teams with like Memphis and like that who have skill players-wise, you can almost put them up with anybody. They always have a couple guys running out of the receiver position that are always
they got a couple.
That are always freaky, but up front is usually the difference. I think Iowa State will win that battle.
Cotton Bowl, Missouri, 10-2 this year under Eli Drinkwitz, taking on the Buckeyes, 11-1. Only loss was to Michigan. It's kind of been a mass exodus over there, including quarterback Kyle McCord, who's committed to Syracuse now. Even with all of that, though, the line is -1 Missouri.
It is really hard for me not to take everything I own from a American Tinder standpoint and put it on Missouri money line. I think this game and the Ole Miss Penn State game, I think, and I guess you could say just because Liberty's playing Oregon, I think those three games outside of the college football playoff have the biggest repercussions in a good way for next year. The biggest chance to grab momentum. Because if you're Missouri, you're coming off a year, and Ole Miss is in a very, very similar situation if you look. It's actually fascinating. If you're Missouri, you're playing Ohio State, one of the biggest brands in the country. Yes, they have a lot of opt-outs. Yes, they're fighting you with one hand tied behind your back. But that doesn't matter when you pop that 11-2 record up there with the win over Ohio State in a New Year's Six bowl game. That adds even more credence, even more relevance, makes the Carfax look a whole hell of a lot sexier for Missouri going into a year in 2024 where their schedule, there is no easy schedule in the SEC, but they have one of the lighter schedules in the SEC. Look at their non-conference. They're going to be licking their chops at that. You bring back your quarterback in Brady, someone cooked here. You bring back Luther, I'm never a burden, Jr. You bring back key pieces on the offense, then you've added to the offensive line with guys like Caden Green from Oklahoma. And defensively, you are getting better, it seems like, every single year. This is a Missouri team we could see in the SEC championship game next year. I could say the same thing for Ole Miss. The only reason that I put the Missouri game a little bit higher in importance over Ole Miss is because I think Ohio State's a little bit higher in importance over Penn State.
Some lines are as high as -2.5 Missouri.
Well, you got to think the spread, what the spread started at? -3.5 Buckeyes. This thing's already moved 4 points. I wouldn't be surprised if it moves more. I think this is Missouri's Super Bowl. This is this year's Missouri Super Bowl. They're so happy to be here. And I think Ohio State, it's a letdown that they're not in the playoff. It's a letdown that they lost against Michigan. It's Kyle McCord. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. playing in this game?
No, hell no.
Like, what key pieces? You lost Fleming. You lost a lot of guys on this offense. There's a lot of questions rolling around this Ohio State University football team. I like Missouri in this game. I think Missouri not only wins, but you bet this up. This will be more than a field goal.
If Eli can score 100 in this game, not saying they will.
How much do you know about
Eli will try and win this game by 60.
I hear everything you are saying. There's a reason that Buckeyes logo is top 3, top 5 every single recruiting cycle. That depth stacked on top of each other, like even the guys who are opting out, they're going to be filled in with 4-star and 5-star guys.
They are. I get it.
Defense is already, that was a legit.
I get it, but Missouri's cats are all playing. Like Schrader and them, the guys that are going out, they want to go out with this. Like this.
Well, look, it's going to be it. For that reason is going to make it interesting to me.
Well, how much do you know about Devin Brown, the backup quarterback?
Well,
I know that all the players have now said they like him more and that Kyle McCord was soft now that he left. I mean,
yeah.
It's easy to
after he went 11-1.
After a guy left.
Man, it's just so different.
Yards.
It's just so different, being a backup and your first real game experience is going to be a bowl game against a bunch of guys who's been seeing that speed the entire year.
Yeah, well, it's again, too, like Devin Brown, yeah, that's great. But you know what Kyle McCord had? He had Marvin Harrison Jr. He had Cade Stover. He had Fleming. He had Igbuka. Devin Brown could be fantastic. And Ohio State probably has fantastic young guys on the outside. Hell, they signed another incredible one in Jeremiah Smith this past signing day. But those guys have no experience playing in this game.
Is Stover not playing?
Say it again?
Is Stover not playing?
Oh, well, I was just including him in the group of everybody that McCord had. I hadn't seen anything about Stover. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't playing, and I don't think Egbuka's playing either.
I can, give me 1 second, I can find out.
Yep.
Well, it should be fun. Like I said, we'll be going live tomorrow to break down those games in full, as well as all of the slate for Saturday's games, too.
Definitely, and it's a road game. So we appreciate you guys in the chat. Like David said, we are going to be live tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Central, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you check in with us. Enjoy the football watching. Enjoy your time off. And get ready for New Year's Eve because it's going down. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. And like Christmas 2023, unfortunately, we're going. Gone.